out there, welcome back to the Phantoms Fanatic YouTube channel. I am back with another review, and this review is of Creed 3, released this year in 2022, starring Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Tessa Thompson, Canelo Alvarez, and Florin Montaño, and it was directed by Michael B. Jordan, and he makes his directorial debut in Creed 3 because obviously he's played the character of Adonis Creed, but those movies were mainly directed by Ryan Coogler, the same guy who did Black Panther and Black Panther 2, but we get this film, which follows the events of Creed 2, where Adonis Creed retires after winning the heavyweight championship of the world, and he is relaxing with his family, his wife, Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson, and his daughter, his new death daughter that was introduced in Creed 2. But this time around, his character from his past, Damien, comes back from being in jail, which was an event that happened when Creed was younger, and it was mainly his fault, and then Damien comes back and says he wants to get into boxing, and then tragedy strikes, and you get another Rocky movie where you get a montage near the end and a main fight that goes nearly all the rounds in boxing. So, before I get into my opinion of this film, I probably should state my opinion of the other Creed films, or just the Rocky movies in general. I enjoy them, you know. The thing is, they're drama movies, and each of them are kind of a remake against each other, you know, them going up against the chances and shit like that. Out of the Creed movies, my favorite is probably the second one. I liked the first one, and I like that Sylvester Stallone returned for both of those films, and went with Rocky's character through them, and developed a new training bond with Adonis, as almost the Mickey to Adonis Creed's. But he doesn't show up in this one, and I'll get my problems out with that. But let's look at this as a movie. The thing that I really do enjoy about this film is that even though it is a very similar plot, obviously, you know, he comes out of retirement to avenge somebody else. It's like Creed 4, almost, but this time the guy that Damien doesn't go against dies. It's just a person he boxes, and it's mainly because Damien makes Creed's image look bad, so that's why he comes out of retirement and boxes him near the end of the film. But what I really think sells this film is the fact that that relationship is at its core. It makes the end boxing fight that you get in every movie, it goes for a more artistic route with it, and I like that it connects these two characters' backstories, because the thing about Adonis Creed's backstory is that he was like through group homes and stuff like that, and he met Damien in a group home, but then due to a tragic event in their past, he went to jail and then came back. And then, you know, he tries to do that thing like most films do in this retrospect, that he tries to help him get back into boxing because he was really good at boxing before he got sent to jail. And I really like that relationship. It is complex enough, and I think both of the actors sell it insanely well to where you get the gist of how they feel about each other. You know that these characters don't hate each other, and that's what I think really sells this film, because you could just introduce another character like Rocky 3 did. You introduce Clubber Lang, and then he just kind of becomes this going against the odds and like going up against, you know, the biggest baddie, which is Rocky 4. But what I really enjoy about this film is that his character isn't necessarily a bad person. Like, he does some questionable things to get results that he wants to, but when you see what happened to this person who was a really good boxer in his early years, but then got sent to jail for something that wasn't entirely his fault, and then he wants to get back into it, you can see the frustration on his performance. And I think Jonathan Majors really proves himself in this film. I didn't hate him as Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but watching him in this, I feel like he was really wasted in that film. And yet again, Michael B. Jordan sells the character of Adonis Creed, and I really enjoy his relationship with his wife, Bianca, yet again played by Tessa Thompson, and the relationship with his mother, and I really enjoy what they do with that. The fact that, yet again, it's a thing from Creed's past that he won't talk to his wife about, because he doesn't want to relive those urges and stuff like that. And I like how it connects to his daughter who's having problems in school and he wants to teach her how to fight and stuff like that. Like, I really enjoyed the character in this film. That's where I think most of the Rocky movies need to excel at, is in the character dynamics, because in all honesty, the plots are usually very samey. You know, training montage, and then you get the boxing fight at the end, which I do enjoy that. The boxing fight in this, I feel like Michael B. Jordan's direction really is taking its own creative twist, because most of the boxing fights in this, I feel like there's no music playing in them, at least until the end fight. Like, the other fights that you see, I like that it seems more rugged and almost like bad that this is happening. When there's this bad fight, when the champion when there's this fight earlier in the film where you're supposed to be feeling something, you feel the hits. I feel like the direction of this film really sells it well. And I like that, as I said, Adonis Creed in this has problems talking about his past to his wife, the troubleships that he experienced and how boxing was an outlet for that anger he felt. I really enjoyed the direction that the characters take in this. Now, the plot obviously is not the most original. It is the other Rocky movies when you just look at it. You know, new fighter gets introduced, and then stuff happens to where he has to retrain. You get a training montage, and then goes right up against them near the end. But even though it's a reused formula, I like that this film does try to separate itself by introducing a new relationship with the person that they have to go up against. Because I like that you get to humanize the person that he's going up against. Same thing with, just like Victor Drago in Creed 2, and he comes back in this to help Creed train, and yet again, it's going the distance, it's going against things, and you feel so happy when Adonis is training and he like keeps fighting and stuff like that. I really have to say that this film does a good job with the character relationships. I feel like Jonathan Mayers and Michael B. Jordan's acting towards each other really do sell these characters of how they have this baked history, and they don't hate each other. I like that, and they come to respect each other, and I really like that you get both points of view, even though you can see where the plot is going. That's not a bad thing in this. I feel like the writing, the directing, and the acting really makes most of these scenes work, even though you know the beats of them. That's what I like about the Rocky and Creed movies. They're the same plots, but they take creative directions, and I like that this one does its own thing. Now, my problem with this film is, yet again, it's the same plot, which is not a problem. But my main problem with this film is that you establish the character of Rocky and Adonis's relationship in the past two Creed films, and I understand Sylvester Stallone didn't return for this, which is fine, but they don't really address Rocky, and especially with the events that happen in this film, I'm sorry, I just can't believe that Rocky wouldn't be there to support Creed. I feel like that's kind of a disingenuous to Rocky's character, and I understand they went with the point of let's just not address him at all, which I don't think works as well. I guess maybe you can get from the ending of Creed 2 when he sees his family that that's why he's not here, but I don't know. I feel like it's a disservice to Rocky and Creed's relationship not to show up, but I also prefer that they are trying to do something different and not just have the same character train Creed, but I do think it is a misdemeanor to the film, especially if you look at the other films, that these characters were built up in these other two films, and it kind of just shits the bucket in this one with Rocky's character, how he doesn't show up. I understand that's mainly because the actor didn't return, but I feel like they should have at least addressed something about it, instead of just ignore it completely. Like, I don't know. I prefer that they did something different and, you know, had somebody else train Creed and help him in this, but I don't know. And yet again, I feel like Michael B. Jordan does a really good job directing. The end fight takes some artistic moments, but not too artistic. It's more of a mental fight between them, which I enjoy. How, like, the spectators disappear and you're just focusing on these two characters, because that's all they're focusing on, is them and their history together. And yet again, you're connected to Creed in this film, and I feel like Michael B. Jordan's acting really does show it. When he's talking to his wife about, I can't hide this anymore, and he's like, I can't talk about my past because it bothers me too much, and I really enjoy that the drama is taken serious in this film. I definitely recommend Creed 3. If you like the other Creed movies, I do think, yet again, it's a samey plot, but it does do enough new things with the characters, introduce the new character of Damien, who I think is genuinely interesting and is great acting by Jonathan Myers. I really recommend Creed 3. It's a really good film. It has good direction, it follows the beats of the Rocky movies, and I think it's as enjoyable as those ones, which I'm always down to watch a Rocky movie. But the fact that Rocky isn't in this one, it kinda assassinates his character, and obviously the plot isn't the most original thing. Obviously, you can obviously see where things are going, but that's not always a bad thing. It's a great, entertaining film about going the distance, and I enjoyed it, so I definitely recommend it. But anyways, what did you guys think of Creed 3? Do you think it's the best of the trilogy, the worst? I like Creed 1 and 2 more than this, but this one still is still pretty good, so I definitely recommend this one. If you like the Rocky movies, you're gonna get exactly what you asked for, but you truly feel like they're trying with these characters, and I think it works for the most part. If you guys have any opinions of the movie, I would like to see them in the comment sections down below. If you have any other movies you want me to review, please leave those in the comment section as well. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share the channel. I do a lot on here. Please check out the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in-depth review. And then the next review, which will be out this week, will be of Scream 6. So keep an eye out on that. But for now, I will see you all next time.